5 News This Morning starts now.
President Trump plans to travel to the Middle East for the signing of a deal to end the fighting between Israel and Hamas. Coming up, what the president says a second phase could look like.
As we're waking up this morning, and that sunrise doesn't pop up till about 7:15, so seeing just a little bit of light out there. But it's going to take another 45 minutes for it to fully get here. But when it does, it's going to be beautiful with maybe a spotty shower chance. Talk more about that here in just a little bit.
And I'm live in Bentonville with a preview of this week's Game of the Week. It's one you don't want to miss. I'll have the latest in just a few minutes.
And we're taking a live look outside in Ozark this morning. Beautiful sunrise.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for waking up with us. It's Friday. We're off to a great start. We've got a lot of things going on this weekend right in our area, like the Peacemaker Festival in Fort Smith, and in Springdale, the Spanish Heritage Festival. So we need great weather for it.
Yes, we do, Danny. Come on, give us something good.
We also have the Alzheimer's Walk, emceed by our own Morgan Wrigley today and Rogers, and should be beautiful weather for it all. So why don't we go over to the big board and kind of talk about this? And again, I've been entrusted, I should say, with this duty again. I've sometimes messed this up a little bit. I don't know where I'm going, but the directors and producers made sure I know where I'm going, so I look good on TV. Well, I don't, but they help with it as they can. Temperatures right now, Northwest Arkansas, mid-50s. For the most part in the 50s, Van Buren still at 60 degrees. Just doesn't want to drop below 60. So Van Buren, I'm trying my best. I'm going to maybe cool it down a little bit, but doesn't help very much. Temperatures, though, compared to this time yesterday, a little bit cooler, especially in Poto. So you're noticing that it's still pretty cool out there. Not necessarily the kind of blowback we saw yesterday, but a cool, comfortable morning out there with clear skies and very comfortable conditions. So if you're heading off to the bus stop still, seeing that clear, quiet conditions, temperatures in the 50s, except Van Buren in 60. Recess or lunchtime is nice with plenty of sunshine, temperatures in the 70s. And as you're heading home, it's going to be warm, temperatures in the 80s. And you said, well, Danny, could see a spotty shower chance. Again, it's not going to ruin any plans, but that chance is there starting this afternoon. Otherwise, the theme is going to be warm and dry yet again. So we'll talk more about that here and get you ready for the weekend ahead coming up in your full forecast. For now, take a live look at traffic on this Friday morning. Take a live look along Highway 412 near the Illinois River. You can see traffic picking up. Obviously, people are heading off to work or school. And again, it should be a beautiful day out there with that stray shower chance. So we'll talk more about it coming up in your full forecast in about 15 minutes. Joe and Tiffany.
All right, thanks so much for that, Danny. Well, President Trump says he'll travel to the Middle East next week.
It's part of a victory lap for his role in brokering a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, widely seen as a first step towards ending the 2-year-old conflict. New video of thousands of Gazans captured accused of men and women and children walking along the coastal road after the start of the truce. Israel's government approved the Phase 1 framework, and its military says that the ceasefire has begun. That framework includes the release of all remaining Israeli hostages in exchange for the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Israel's prime minister met with U.S. negotiators ahead of his government's vote. Israel is now tasked with pulling back its military forces to an agreed-upon line within a certain time frame. Hamas is expected to turn over the remaining 48 hostages, both alive and deceased, early next week.
The hostages will be coming back Monday or Tuesday. I hope to be there.
President Trump says he plans to leave Sunday for the Middle East, where he says that he will attend the official signing of the Phase 1 agreement in Egypt. Trump also says next steps for Phase 2 will include disarming and pullbacks.
Well, the government shutdown is now entering its 10th day. Senators have left Washington until next week. President Trump threatened to cut unspecified programs if the shutdown continues, but both sides are locked in a stalemate. Democrats want extensions of health care subsidies set to expire within months. Right now, all eyes are on air travel, with the shutdown straining the TSA and the Federal Air Traffic Control System.
We gave our blessings to all the TSA workers, and we made sure that, we told them that, that hang in there, and hopefully in time things will change.
Well, meanwhile, food banks across the country are bracing for higher demand from hundreds of thousands of federal workers who will be going without pay. The Senate is scheduled to return to Washington next Tuesday. A grand jury has indicted New York Attorney General Letitia James.
As Erica Brown reports, this comes after James pursued a civil fraud suit against President Trump before he returned to the Oval Office.
New York Attorney General Letitia James was indicted Thursday by a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia and is charged with 1 count of bank fraud and 1 count of making false statements to a financial institution. The 5-page indictment alleges James made false statements related to her 2020 purchase of a home in Norfolk, Virginia, to secure more favorable interest rates. James denies any wrongdoing and in a video statement says she will aggressively fight the charges she calls a weaponization of the justice system.
These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost.
Last year, Letitia James secured a civil judgment of hundreds of millions of dollars against then-former President Trump and his business for fraudulently inflating real estate assets, but an appeals court later tossed out the judgment. Last month, President Trump publicly urged Attorney General Pam Bondi to look into James, former FBI Director James Comey, and California Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, who is also under investigation by the Justice Department.
All Americans should be concerned about this kind of raw abuse of the power of the Justice Department.
James's indictment comes just 2 weeks after a grand jury also indicted Comey on charges of lying to Congress. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
Well, new this morning, Arkansas lawmakers say state agencies mishandled a child abuse case that was reported 29 times over a course of a decade. On Wednesday, lawmakers questioned Arkansas officials about the case out of Mountain Home. In 2024, police say they found a teen boy locked in a bathroom. Daniel Wright and Jacqueline Barnett were arrested on more than 200 counts related to the alleged abuse. In a letter, Tiffany Wright, the Division of Children and Family Services Director, says more than 24 reports came into the child abuse hotline. In the meeting this week, lawmakers criticized DHS officials for a lack of action.
You said, I hope there are no other children that fall into this category. Hope is not a strategy. You have data and tools at your disposal. You and your team have to act because none of us can let this happen again on our watch.
Representative.
Well, Tiffany Wright told lawmakers no disciplinary action had been taken for staff involved in those 29 reports, and accountability was assessed during a staff review related to the incident. Now, you can learn much more about this case. We have an in-depth story on our website at 5newsonline.com.
The University of Arkansas will mandate the display of the 10 Commandments in every building and in every classroom. They'll become the first public university in the country with such a mandate. Act 573 passed during this year's state legislative session and requires the 10 Commandments to be hung in every public classroom and library. A U of A spokesperson told 5 News that the posters were going up that were recently donated. 5 News spoke with students who had mixed reactions to the news.
Seeing as how we're supposed to legally have a separation in church and state, I would say that, yeah, of course. We shouldn't have one statement about ethics and values about one religion in place whenever we don't have enough about another.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm all for that.
Act 573 took effect in August, but a lawsuit filed by a group of parents means several Northwest Arkansas public schools are not implementing the law. A federal judge has issued a temporary injunction in that case as it plays out.
Well, it is Friday, which means more high school football action around our area.
5 News reporter Emily Moss is at Rogers High School to preview our football Friday night matchup. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning, Joe and Tiffany. That's right. I'm here at Bentonville West for this week's Game of the Week, and we've got a big game this morning. I'm here with Coach Pratt here just ahead of tonight's game. I know you're getting amped up. I also got the marching band, the color guard, who came here to join us this morning. They're super excited to be here. Coach Pratt, let's talk about this game. This is obviously a very anticipated game this week between you and Rogers. How are you feeling this morning?
Well, I mean, we're just excited for the opportunity. It's a great Rogers team, and we're playing really well right now. We're excited about going over there and hopefully giving the fans something happy to cheer about.
Awesome. Obviously, last week you're coming off a game with a very high score on the board. Are you looking to repeat that, or what kind of strategy are we looking into?
Yeah, well, our strategy is to have more points on the board than they do, and we don't really care what that is. Obviously, everybody thinks it's going to be a very high-scoring game with both of our offenses being very potent, but usually when games like that, it comes down to the way the defense plays in turnovers, so that's kind of where we're at.
Awesome. Looking into this game, obviously the Mounties, they're coming in as an undefeated game. Does that change the way that you approach these kind of games?
I don't think so. They're a really good football team, and we knew that coming in. They've got two really good players that pretty much dominate everybody they played so far, and so obviously that's going to be the focus to try to stop. And we're just excited about the opportunity for Bentonville West to be playing a game like this.
Awesome. When you think about this rivalry between the two, what excites you about this game every year?
Well, I think if you look back over the last 4 or 5 years, it's come down to the final drive or, a really close game other than last year. And so, we're excited to get that back on track. And wins are huge. And, this point in the conference play, it definitely has some implication on the playoffs. And so we want to make sure that we go over and play well.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach Pratt. We'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Our 5 News Sports team, thanks for that, Emily. We'll bring you highlights of your favorite games tonight on Football Friday night. It starts at 10:15 on Channel 5 and on 5 News Plus.